Hello. Yep. I think we're there. I've got a hello to anyone that may join us now, or that will watch this at some other time. And it's 7 p.m. here in East Gippsland, Victoria, Australia. Maybe I need to put that down or turn it just a little bit. That's a bit better, I think. But anyway, yeah, if there's anybody out there, say hi. I think I've broken a record with the amount of viewers, and it's I think there's one there, so I'm not sure who that is. If there's anyone there that wants to say hi, say hi. But yeah, anyway, it's pretty cold here today for us. It is currently 17 degrees C inside the house, so it's probably a couple of degrees cooler outside. And yeah, I actually had to put pants and a jacket on today for the first time this year. So in the northern hemisphere, obviously everybody's going for. I'm still not happy with that. That's a bit better. My head's in the middle a bit better now. In northern hemisphere, everybody's going for heading into the warmer weather. But anyway, I might start off where I left off last in December with the I did a live stream on about the bushfires. So that's all gone now, and there's been some rain around the place, and just to the north of me, houses were lost about 15 kilometres away, and to the north of me, the sky was really black with smoke and everything, and so I was sort of on tenterhooks like we all were around here for probably a week or so. And anyway, I mean, I would have been surprised if it had have come down to us, because there's a lot of farmland around us. But from the pictures that I've seen, the fires burn through, woodland, if you're overseas, or bushes, or whatever we call it here. And the wind just seems to blow it across the dry grass, and then it'll catch again, So I suppose nobody is immune from it. But like everyone else, we're still in the lockdown phase here in Australia, like the rest of the world, but I think things are on the mend. Most of the country here are starting to lift restrictions, but we here in Victoria, the last I heard at least, the Premier's not going to look at it till the 11th of May. So I think that's a bit over the top, but I'm not going to get political here. Anyway, that's not much we can do about it. You just got to live with it, go with the flow, So that's the bushfires are gone. There was some floods up on the east coast of Australia or somewhere around there. So they had the fires and the floods. But anyway, I've got nothing written down. It's all coming off my head, what I want to talk about. So that's what happened. But anyway, getting back onto the subject that I really want to talk about is doing more videos. If you look through my channel, I've just done some dash cam videos with a bit of commentary and things like that. Pretty boring. I mean, some people watch them, and there's one video that gets, for my standards, is really popular. I think it's had over 1,000 views, and it's one that I did in Bairnsdale, probably well over a year ago now. But for some reason, YouTube must put it up the list a bit for my standards anyway. I don't know why. I think I got a comment on it today, actually. It was in my old car. I don't have the old Falcon anymore. And but anyway, yeah, I want to a long time ago now, probably 20 years ago, we used to do a lot of outback trips around Australia and, camped for 95% of the time. And I probably haven't done a lot of camping since then, to be honest with you. I've still got a tent and a few bits and pieces in the garage, but I need to, I'll watch a lot of channels. I don't think there's any guys I watch in Australia. I'm not sure if they're non-existent. There might be one guy called Scotty something or other, but anybody who's into camping, now if I leave anyone out, I apologise. There's guys in the UK like Kent Survival, TA Outdoors, Carlisle 195, Tim Robson, a couple of other guys as well, smaller guys. That I can't think of. Oh, Swamp Valley, but he's gone a bit quiet lately. I don't know what's happened to him. Who else is there? Dartmoor Explorer is another one that I like. And of course, we've got TA Outdoors, of course. How could I forget that? Over 1 million subscribers. And then, of course, there's Joe Robinette in Canada. And another one I like in Canada is Jim Baird. He calls himself, he's a Jim Baird, the Adventurer, I think it is. And like I say, if there's anyone I've missed out, I apologise. But there used to be a guy in the States called Scrambled O. I don't know what's happened to him. He's dropped off. But look, everybody has their own life, and sometimes you just got to do your own life, and YouTube comes second. But I'm basically looking for something to do, so I think I might get back into camping. I've got a 4-wheel drive again now, so I'm not a huge 4-wheel drive sort of person. I don't go out and look for mud to drive through, but if you need it to get through something, fair enough, But yeah, I'd like to get in the UK. It quite often gets mentioned that there's not many free areas that you can go and camp. And the only place, I was watching Kent Survival just yesterday, and he was saying the only place you can really go free camping is Dartmoor, and he's got a couple of woodlands that he can use, that he's got permission. That's probably what I'd like to do here. I mean, you can go anywhere and camp here. Well, not really. I mean, when we did the outback trips, you'd just pull over on the side of the road and camp on the side of the road, basically, amongst a few trees. We never struck any trouble, but where I am here in East Gippsland, I mean, it's a little bit more, there are people around, and I mean, to do that sort of thing here, you'd probably have to go north up into the Great Dividing Ranges, that's where a lot of the bushfires were and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I'd like to get a permission somewhere. It would be nice. I mean, I just live in a basic house on a standard block, so I did live on 12 acres for a few years. That was kind of nice, having no neighbours. But anyway, that got sold, so I had to move out. But a permission, I don't even know how I'd go about it here. I've been racking my brain a bit today about it, but I've got no idea. But I'd like to know, I've looked at some Kent Survival. Andy was using a bush box, and from what I could see online, the one he was using was 120 euros or something like that. That just seemed a lot of money to me. Maybe I haven't bought a piece of camping equipment probably for 15 years, I reckon. Have to be, at least, I'd say. I did buy a tent. The tent I've got is a big round thing. It's like a metre across. It wraps up. It's like a self-extending tent. And I think I bought that. I slept out in the backyard in it a few times. you know, it was a novelty. And it's basically, like I say, it's probably been 10 years since I've used it, but I've still got it. It's, you know, you've got your fiberglass poles that go in the tents. And this one, you sort of, it rolls up, like I say, it's a big disc, and you sort of, when you open it up, you just pull the discs apart and it just pops up, and all you have to do is put in some pegs around it, and that's it, you know. And there's a certain way when you fold it up, you sort of pick it up and you've got to twist it back into its round thing. I think that's how it worked. Like I say, it's been a long time. But anyway, this bush box, yeah, seemed to be a lot of money to me, but, you know, I'd like some suggestions. If anyone ever sees this video, leave a comment or something, or if anyone turns up today, you know, I'd love to know of an online store or something, maybe eBay or something, I don't know, to get some gear. I mean, I'd like to get one of those little bush box stoves. I mean, I've got some gas stoves and that, but actually, if you guys ever see, all my camping will be car camping, wherever it is. I just chuck everything in the car and just go wherever. I'm not really into hiking that much at the moment. So yeah, it'll be car camping, and yeah, I'd like to get just a little one of those bush box stoves. One thing that never gets talked about on the bushcraft channels is how do you clean your dishes? Some guys don't even use all that. One guy, that's right, I just thought of him, Escape Adventures. I think he's in the USA somewhere. He never seems to have a plate or anything. He just got a little grill he puts his steak on, and then just, you know, gets the steak off and just cuts it up and eats it with the knife. But years ago, we used to just have, it was a bloody pain, to be honest with you. We had a dish and you had to heat up hot water and wash them just like you do at home. Maybe there's an easier way. I mean, it never seems, I don't think I've heard any of the big guys talk about washing their dishes, you know. Maybe they do it with hot water and soap and stuff like that. I've got no idea. But yeah, I'd like to have a permission somewhere. I don't know whether I will get into full-on bushcraft as far as, you know, lighting a fire. Now, this is something I don't know about Australia. I think I know for a fact birch trees are not common here. I mean, if you've got a birch tree, it's probably been planted by someone in a garden. And, you know, you use the bark, obviously. It's obviously got the resin in it. That's good to start a fire. But I'm not sure if there's anything like that here in Oz that I know of, you know. Same for a lot of the pine trees and stuff in Canada, and I'm not sure if they're plantations or what, but they're all straight. Everything's 99% of the stuff here in the wild is eucalyptus, and they just grow all over the place. I mean, I'd love somebody to correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just my observations anyway. Cheers, just having a coffee. Ah, not bad. Haven't had a drink for a few months, so I'm addicted to coffee now. But yeah, as far as finding bark to light the fire, I don't know. Years ago, all we did was just cigarette lighter and just use some newspaper and kindling and stuff like that. That's all we ever used to use. But as far as having a ferro rod and all that sort of stuff, I don't know. Maybe I'll try it down the track. But I'd like to know if I don't think there's. I mean, we've used bark off a tree early in a fire to get it going, because you know, all bark is sort of thin, I guess, and it catches easily like kindling. But I guess that birch bark has, it's when it catches fire, you can sort of hear it popping. It must have some sort of resin in it or something like that. So, but anyway, yeah, I really don't know what I'm going to do about a permission, and I'd love to have some recommendations of where to buy some camping gear at a reasonable price. I mean, I want a bush box. I'd like to get a half decent knife, an axe, a saw. I'll tell you what I would love. Simon, that's another guy I forgot. Simon, a bloke in the woods. I'd love to get one of his buck saws that he makes. Geez, he's handy, that guy. He makes everything. Unbelievable. Check out Simon's channel. I watch all those guys. They're really good. Zed Outdoors, I just thought of him. And yeah, Simon's buck saws, I reckon they'd be great. I assume you can buy blades for them anywhere. I can't remember, but I'm not sure how long they are. But you know, from what I've heard on these videos, you know, you can get different blades for wet wood or dry wood, which I didn't know. So obviously, if you're cutting firewood, you're going to be cutting dry stuff, aren't you? So I just remember years ago using hand saws to cut trees. The blade always used to bind up. Maybe it was the wrong blade. And I'm not talking about firewood. I'm talking about just wet wood, cutting it down for whatever, you know, to get rid of it for whatever reason. Yeah, I hope the audio is working. I can see myself. I wouldn't know. Maybe the one person watching is me. So anyway, if I'm talking to myself, then so be it. I'll do it again tomorrow. But that's camping, yeah. I mean, the four-wheel drive I've got, it's, I mean, the old Falcon was 23 years old, so, I mean, I deserved a new car, so I went out and bought myself one. I sold some investments that I had, to cut a long story short, which is basically how I live at the moment. Yeah, so I bought a car, Isuzu, and I mean, I haven't really been out for 6 weeks, except for to the supermarket because we're not supposed to. But it seems to be all right for a new car. It's only done 7,000 Ks or something, diesel. And yes, seems like a nice car. Everybody seems to go for the twin cab utes here, like, but I just went for the wagon. That's what I used to have a Patrol years ago when we did all our outback trips. Or before, even earlier, I had a Toyota, and but yeah, another thing I noticed too with the guys in the northern hemisphere is you never seem to have any refrigeration. I guess that's because it's not. It's obviously cool. I mean, you guys say it goes down way under zero at night. I mean, if we get under, I'm in the country, if we get under zero, that's a really cold night. We'd be lucky to get under zero 3 or 4 times in a winter, I reckon, you know, like 15 degrees or whatever it is today. That's pretty chilly. It's pretty chilly. And, you know, if it gets down to 12 during the day, that's a really cold day. But yeah, I guess you don't need any refrigeration up in the northern hemisphere. I mean, Carlisle 195, he used to blow me away. The cooking he used to do, like these. At one stage, he had a little whole little pig. I remember. He hasn't done a big roast for a while, but he used to, and he's got the big food bag on his front, you know, and it's really used to amaze me. I'm actually looking forward to getting out again and getting a fire going. I mean, I'd like to get a grill like John has, and you know, that you can actually just use on a campfire, so you don't have to get your little bush box stove going all the time. And I'm pretty sure I've got something similar to those guys but it's different. It does the same thing. You put the fire in the middle of it, and the water's around the outside, and it boils the water. So we used to use that a lot on the outback trips years ago, and yeah, it was real handy. It boils it in like 2 minutes or something. It was fantastic. So I'd probably use that a lot. But anyway, yeah. Hopefully I get some. If I don't get any responses here, on what do you call it? I'm on Instagram and what do you call it? The other one, Twitter. I'm not a fan of Facebook. Well, I am on there, but I'm not going to use it for this. I can't, and I've got a memory like a sieve, and I've totally forgot about what I was talking about. But that's all right. I'll have a sip of coffee. Cheers. It'd be nice to have somebody to respond to in the comments, but maybe. Now, I think I was talking about just looking forward to getting out in the bush again. Like I say, I mean, I could probably drive for an hour from here or less and just camp somewhere. But the good thing about having a permission somewhere is it's private, you know, and you could actually, you know, you can set up your camera. Oh, that's another thing too. I'm hopeless. Here it is. Here, I bought this. It's just a little Yi light, it's called. And I do have a Canon camera over there. It's not a DSLR. I don't know what it is, and I've got the phone, of course, but my editing skills are that. So if you look at some of my earlier videos, you'll be able to tell that. I don't really have the patience for it. Oh, another guy I just thought of, because he loves editing, apparently, Camp Life Bushcraft in the UK, Dan. So he said he loves editing. So I don't know, maybe I'll grow to like it. I don't know. I just get confused with all the files. I mean, I was really, and I'm only using Kent Survival as an example. I mean, there's a lot of great editing out there, but I just noticed the shots he must move the camera around and redo the shots for different angles every 5 seconds, where I'll probably just, you know, set the camera up there and just turn it on, and you know, if it takes me 10 minutes to light the fire, that's what you'll see. You know, I don't think I'll get too fussy, and that's what I was getting at with the trees. You know, I just think building shelters and stuff here, I just don't think you could do it, because with the poles and stuff that you need, the straightness, I don't think we have here. You know, I'd like to set up a tarp or stuff. I mean, it doesn't rain much here in this part of the world, believe it or not. In East Gippsland, anyway, southeast Gippsland, up to the north, up in the hills, I think they get quite a bit. Well, we had an inch just yesterday, 35 mil, so a bit over an inch in about 35 hours, which is really good for us. We haven't had that. I think we had 3 inches back in January or something like that, you know. So yeah, you haven't. But it'd be nice to have a shelter up so you could. And at night, you know, the dew and stuff comes down, especially in the winter. But I'll be looking into that. That's about all I can say on that. And then you've got I watch a couple of I like aviation and stuff, so I watch Mikey McBrien from Buffalo Airways. He's got a channel, and they restored a DC-3 last year, so that was really good. I loved every minute of that. And they're doing a Fokker DR1 this year, but everything's on hold at the moment because of the lockdown, of course. And a guy Mikey's in Canada, and a guy called Blancolirio Juan Brown he's in California. So I know more about an airliner that in the last couple of months than I ever had, you know, because he's a pilot on the 777 first officer, so he knows all that stuff backwards. So it's really interesting for me. And he does reports on crashes and all that sort of stuff, So any high profile crashes, but most of the reporting at the moment is about how decimated the airline industry is, because I think it's 99% of aircraft are on the ground at the moment for obvious reasons. And I saw a stat, I think San Francisco airport had something like 5,800 movement flights per week, and that's down to 48, so just shows you. But yeah, so all that, I like watching that. But yeah, no, it's good. I spend quite a bit of time on YouTube. I watch some a bit of some cooking guys as well. Just yeah, what's his name? There's a couple of them. There's a Japanese guy, and I don't know. I don't think he's Japanese. I think he's a white person. He's always behind the camera. I think I've seen his hand, so that's how I know he's white. But Hero, the master sushi chef. Yeah, I like watching him. And there's another guy. I think he's in San Francisco too. Taku is his name. What's he call his channel? It'll come to me. Outdoor Chef Life. That's it. I like watching that as well. I mean, there's probably millions of people out there. I don't know how I got onto it. I mean, I've always flicked through YouTube, but how I really got onto the bushcraft and camping, the very first one I watched, and I'm moving the table with my arm. That's why I'm shaking. The very first one that I got onto bushcraft and stuff was TA Outdoors, the building of the pallet wood cabin. I remember watching that, thinking, "Oh, this is pretty good." And then I watched some of his other videos, and then you see recommendations, and they all sort of pop up. But I mean, I don't think I'm going to follow any more at the moment, because it's just, I've got 280 in my queue at the moment. So videos, well, there's a couple of them that I watch straight up. They're sort of my favourites. But for the rest of them, they sort of go in the queue, and when I get to them, I get to them, So some of them I probably won't watch for a couple of months, but it depends what it is. If it's something that really interests me, I'll watch it. There's I was right into watching Japanese teppanyaki, it's called, cooking for quite a while, but I'm sort of over that. You can only watch a guy going ching 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 on the hot plate so much, So, another guy I watch a bit is Mark Weens. If you're into cooking, you would have seen him. He's pretty big. I think he's got like 5 or 6 million subs. So he goes all over the world and tastes food and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, he's pretty good too. And he puts out a lot of videos. I don't know how he does it. He seems to put out a few a week. And they go for half an hour. So I don't know how he does it, but he's certainly pumps them out. He'd probably be doing all right too. But I've heard a few of the guys saying that the YouTube revenue has gone down recently, so I'm not sure whether that's because of the views, or YouTube are just not kicking out the ads as much as they used to. I mean, I don't understand how it works. A lot of these guys, which is fair enough, I'd love to have 1,000 subscribers so I could be monetized as well. I really don't have a lot of money coming in at the moment, I can tell you that's for sure. But I've got a roof over my head, and I think life could be worse, I guess. So, but yeah, it'd be nice to earn a little bit of money. And yeah, I've donated it to a couple of them. I mean, for argument's sake, all the money that Mikey McBride gets through YouTube revenue, YouTube revenue, PayPal, and there's probably, I'm not sure if he's on Patreon and all that sort of stuff. All of that goes into the projects. So, you know, the DC-3 aircraft last year, everybody who donated, you know, owns a little bit of it, which is kind of nice, I think. So everything he gets from that goes into these projects, you know, which is good. Everybody's got a little piece of it, you know. So it's yeah, it's good. It's good. Let's have a drink. Well, I've been raving on for 30 minutes now, but that's all right. Even if you're watching this later, just leave a comment if you've got any suggestions about where I can find some, you know, a good. I like a one place fits all sort of, you know, like a supermarket basically. I don't like going to 100 places. I'd rather just get everything from the one spot and that's it. A little bit different online because you can easily just buy stuff from different places. I mean, it's a little bit hit and miss what you get online, isn't it? Because sometimes it's nice to hold things before you buy them and just sort of look at them to see they're good quality. But who knows what's going to happen with the Chinese products these days? But you know, that's something that yeah, I don't think much will happen myself. I think once all this is blown over, everything will just go back to the way it was pretty much. You know, it's a vicious circle. We export stuff to China, they export it back here, money going both ways, you know, and if that stops, everybody's going to lose money, you know. Yeah, I don't know, you know. I mean, I'm not an economist. Did I say that right? By any standards, you know, I've got one vote. That's it, you know. So that's all any of us have. But yeah, my biggest thing is I'm probably a little bit reluctant to start buying all the gear. I'd love to get a permission somewhere first. I mean, I could go out and I think there's a little. I'm not sure if there's a little store close to me or not. You saw my eyes go up there. I think I just heard a baby cry. It might be the neighbours. I mean, I could go out camping tomorrow if I had to. I mean, like I've got the tent. I've got one of those thermo rests, but you know they're only 20 mil thick or something, and I'm not the smallest person, so I think I need a bit of comfort these days. And I've seen some of the guys, they're using mats now. They're sort of corrugated, but they're nice and thick, you know. They're probably 100 mil thick. What's that, a few inches or something? I don't know. So I'd like to get one of those. But I could, you know, I've got a sleeping bag that we used to use 20 years ago doing all our trips. So I don't know, that's in the house here somewhere. So that'd do. And because I'm car camping, I'd probably just take it. I think I've got a few blankets and stuff here I'll just take with me if I get cold, and you know, she'll be right. But yeah, I'll just have to work on getting permission. I don't know how. I'd like some suggestions on that. I mean, what do you do? I mean, I wouldn't know who owns what here, and where I live, it's a lot of farmland and stuff anyway. So I suppose you could just, you know, it'd be nice. You don't need much. You don't need much. I'd just like to have one area where I can sit down and just enjoy myself and record my experiences, you know, and hopefully people like to watch it. I mean, it is, all the YouTube videos are pretty repetitive, but you know, you either like it or you don't, I guess. I mean, I can sort of sit there and watch hours of YouTube. Doesn't, you know, it just, when you add them, when the videos come out and you put them into saved queue, watch later list, whatever they call it. It sort of jumbles them all up. I didn't add anything to my queue for probably a couple of months, and I left it. So I spent an hour one day and just went through every subscription and just added them all to my queue. So I've got a dozen videos of one person, then you get through that, then you've got another dozen videos of another person. So I just train myself now. Usually when I'm in bed, I just flick through the new videos and just add them straight to the list, so you get a variety, or different. It might be all camping or aviation related, but Flight Chops is another one. He's a good one from he's in Canada, and Mentor Pilot. I think he's in Spain. I haven't watched a lot of Mentor Pilot, but he's in. I think he's in Spain, something like that. And it's a good thing. I think with YouTube, I'm no expert, but just listening to guys like Joe Robinette, I think he said it took him, I think it was 10 or 12 years to get to 1 million subscribers. So, that's a fair time, and that's commitment too. I mean, I've probably only been watching Joe for a couple of years, but he's probably been putting weekly videos out for 10 or 12 years, so it takes a long time to sort of get a bit of momentum and, all that sort of thing. I mean, and, somebody, and the commitment too. I mean, I don't know. If I had a tarp and everything like that, I'd go out in the rain, sure, no worries. But guys like John and Tim, they go out. I think they enjoy going out in the real harsh weather. I mean, when it's flooding and they, along that river there in Carlisle, whatever the river is, but they're always out in the when it's real bad weather, cold, snow, wind, and floods and all that sort of stuff, So I enjoy I like their commitment, and John's a chef, I think, and he'll knock off at 11 o'clock at night or something, and then he'll walk 5 miles into the bush or something, and he doesn't go to bed till 4 o'clock in the morning, and he chainsaws wood and all that stuff at night. So that's commitment for you, and he's been doing it for a while too. So that is commitment, But yeah, if I had a permission that I could just spend a couple of nights or whatever there a week, film it. I mean, probably over time. I mean, there are guys out there that I've gone back to their very first video, and you can, like, the very first video are basically unwatchable. It's so low quality that your eyes hurt to watch it, and up to what they're doing now to when they first started is just unbelievable. I mean, like I say, the editing that some of the guys do out there is just fantastic. I mean, Kent Survival, Andy admits he did some university or something years ago, so he's got some editing skills and filming skills and all that from his experience from his university years ago. So I don't know what's going to happen with me. Like, this has only come about in the last few days. I've had, in the last 10 years, I've had a couple of businesses, and real businesses, not like this here, and struggled to make money. Long story. It's a long story, but one of them was a truck, and the registration for it is really high. And when you're starting out, there's not a lot of money coming in, and you use $350 a day in fuel, you know, plus your tyres are $1,200 each, and you got 22 of them. So there's a lot of money, and just maintenance when things bust, you know, 10 grand straight away, you know. And when you haven't got a lot of work and a lot of money coming in, it's very, you think you're doing well when you get paid by whoever you're working for, but yeah, just the money going out kills you. So I just cut my losses at one point, and that was it, you know. So hopefully I can turn this into something. Oh, that's what I was going to say about, I've talked about Kent Survival Andy a lot, but he reminds me, actually I very much like Andy in a way. I'm 45, he said he's 40. I just watched a live stream that he did. I watched the live stream last night that he did probably, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. And he's 40, I think he said, but he needed something to get out of bed, you know, each day to do, and doing the videos has done that for him. And, you know, I'm basically the same. You know, I'm not really a going to the factory every day sort of person, you know. 9 to 5, clock on, clock off. Not me. Did it, I've done it in my life, but in the early days especially, you know, worked a hell of a lot actually, and, you know, made quite a bit of money. But now things have gone full circle. I'm not really doing much at all at the moment, and I don't have much money. But like I say, I'm not, you know, totally poor and sleeping in a cardboard box. But, you know, I couldn't just not that we can fly anywhere at the moment. I think you can. Well, if you're allowed to go out of your bloody house, you could jump on a plane and fly somewhere in the country. But you know, you can't go overseas or anything. But when I say, as far as not having money, I probably couldn't go on an overseas holiday right at the moment, because I just don't have the cash, and I wouldn't want to spend the money that I have, you know, because anything can happen if, you know, something needs doing around the house or something like that. I mean, the car's under warranty for 6 or 7 years, so that's a good thing. And yeah, some guy did leave a message on that video that I was talking about earlier, the one in Bairnsdale town, up the road, down the highway a bit. And I picked up one sub today, I noticed. I'm up to, wait for it, 17. So that might have been him, I'm not sure. It'd be nice if you could actually go into your subscribers and actually see who they are, but I don't think you can. I've never heard anyone say that you can, so I'm assuming that you can't, you know. Not that it makes any difference, but, you know, either way. But yeah, hopefully I've got to find a permission somewhere, you know, get it, you know. All the guys that seem to have permissions, like in the UK and Canada, like I say, Ken Survival, he's got a couple, and Tim Robson and Carlisle, they have the permission there where they can go in. And I remember Joe Robin, it probably might have been a year or two ago, I still remember that he said he had a permission, and it was about 300 acres, and I haven't really heard much about it since, so I'm not sure if he still uses it or what the story is, you know. But I really don't have the money to be forking out money just to make videos, you know what I mean. Buying the camping gear is probably enough for me, and you got to, depending on where it is, you got to get there and pay for fuel. And well, fuel has come down a little bit here. It's still not as low as it should. You know, I think the oil companies in Australia are taking the piss right now, to be honest with you, and the supermarkets. I mean, all the prices have gone up on things that were assured, like toilet paper and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I was going to say something, but no, I'm not getting political. I've got a couple of YouTube accounts actually, and one of them that if I want to be political on, I am. You know, I don't want to. And you know, all the journalists and commentators and stuff, they're pretty guarded about what they say. So you know, they probably have fake accounts as well, where they can say what they like. You know, but yeah. Anyway, that's probably about it. I'll just have another sip, and yeah, I'll do another update. I mean, look. I was really keen there probably 6 months ago doing the dash cams. I mean, look, it's pretty boring, but I enjoyed doing it. Yeah, and not many people look at them. Like, there's nobody watching now, but that's all right. I'm just talking to myself. But yeah, hopefully it'll lead to something down the track. You know, hopefully I used to like, when we camped years ago, I used to like having a few beers, especially on a hot day. But hopefully I can just, you know, drink coffee or tea or something, because I'm supposed to be alcohol free now. So, you know. All right, I'll leave you all to it. And yeah, I don't think there's anybody watching now, but if you're watching this in the future and you've made it this far, thanks for watching. And yeah, there'll be more coming in the future. I don't know when, but you know, look, like I say, Evan M on same thing on YouTube, and Evan M121 on Instagram. You know, so if I've got any updates, I'll probably just put them in there and go from there. But yeah, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers. Thumbs up. Oh, I was trying to. We're going now. See ya. Cheers.